Unless the teacher was.
The teacher?
The instructor. Did you wish
I'm just talking.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing? Ready?
6:30.
All right. Is this too loud or is this okay? This is good. All right. Thank everybody for coming tonight. I do appreciate it. It means a lot to me that I'll be able to sit down with people from Shinnecock and talk about my art and where I plan on seeing my art go. So my name is Durrell Hunter. I'm a fine artist. I've been drawing pretty much my whole life, but I've been painting for like the last 7 years. In the beginning, it was just experimentation. I wanted to do something with my art for a living, like pretty much every day, just be happy. And I painted for the first time, went to a few art shows, and that inspired me to paint. And then, I'm painting, just standard things that's going on in the world, things like that, trying to find, my calling to painting. And then I think I painted a picture of one of my cousins, Sunshine. And the kind of feedback that I got from it, telling the story of being Shinnecock to people who may or may not know about the tribe in different states, art curators, things like that. And then that kind of brought into focus, maybe I should just paint where I'm from, people from the tribe, the landscape, and still put my flair on it. Because I like abstract art, trying different art forms, and if I can incorporate something into a piece that still tells my story, then I'm satisfied with it. I've been displaying artwork now in galleries for like the last 3 or 4 years. So I've been having these talks, more and more frequently. So having the opportunity to be here, on the land and talk about it, like I was more taken to that versus doing a workshop. So I hope you guys appreciate it. If there's any questions or anything, feel free to ask. That's what I'm here for. And I mean, what questions do you guys have for me? No questions?
What was your first something?
The first time I painted something, it was two feathers. A friend of mine's, we went to high school together. We went to the Art Institute of Atlanta for a little while together. And then years later, he's telling me about artists on Instagram. And we go to an art show, and I'm looking at the artwork. I hadn't drawn for a few years at this point, and it just inspired me to start drawing again. And then once I started painting, I painted two feathers, and I just felt like that's the art style I should have been focused on. So from there, I painted a portrait of Sunshine. I've done some landscape pieces from Shinnecock. I've painted like quite a few people, actually, images from powwow. Trying to work on like my style. I bounce back and forth between doing traditional pieces, like maybe what people of Shinnecock were doing, before technology hit the landscape and things got modernized. And then at the same time, I sometimes paint what people on Shinnecock are doing now. Trying to stay in tune with things that are going on, to try to inspire pieces that I may or may not paint. Disputes over land, things like that. I try to think about and put that into the paintings that I create. But the first one was two feathers.
I remember that.
You do? Oh, that's good. I still have them. I still have them. I didn't get rid of them or anything. So,
Do you ever work in mixed media? And if you do or if you don't, any feeling about mixed media as an art form?
mixed media as far as like doing graphic art, or mixed media like using like leaves and things like that in the art.
That's
I do. The more I started creating, I wanted to add a like texture to my work. So it's almost like plaster. Like I'll use that in a lot of pieces. And when you paint over top of it, you know, it just gives it an effect that you wouldn't be able to paint out. But I'm open to mixed media. Like absolutely. I'll try all different kinds of art forms and then take that experience and bring it back to what I like to do.
Have you done this yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Not in the piece behind you, but in the piece on the other side of the wall. It's titled At the Stony Shore. That piece has some texture in it. But I want it to be subtle. Like right now, where I'm at creatively, I'm trying to work on making like minimalistic artwork. A lot of my work can sometimes or has gotten like crazy, like very sporadic, a lot going on. And it's all part of the process, just experimenting. But I'm trying to tone that down a little bit and just be subtle with it. Like the color palette, even with the subject matter, like maybe just having like one person versus two, or, you know, semi-realism, but the rest of it just being very simple, abstract, you know, not a lot of colors. But it's a little hard for me because just my art style, I guess it's just a reflection of my personality, and it's kind of, you know, energetic. But it's a challenge I take on. You know, it's all just part of the process, growing and getting better. Is anybody else in here creative outside of you guys? I know you are. You too? Oh yeah, you. So you know, creatively, the more we create, I think the better we get, even if it's not the focus of what we're trying to do. Like, okay, like beadwork, it's a different art form than painting, but that's not to say that by me doing beadwork, even if I'm just practicing or learning it, it wouldn't inspire me or give me some kind of energy that I can then apply to my painting. Now that I know what I want my art body of work to be, those are things that I want to learn, you know? So outside of like just saying I'm from the Shinnecock Indian Nation, I also want to participate in things that Shinnecock people do. You know, like I've never canoed on the water, but I would if I had the opportunity to, and then I could take that and then put it in my next piece. I think it would, you know, it would give me something to talk about, to enlighten people, informing people. A lot of times like, oh, I didn't know there were, you know, Native Americans in New York. Like, well, I mean, I understand, but there are. And I'm from one of the tribes, and this is what I do. And, you know, just to kind of inform people on it, because a lot of people don't know. They would like, especially from New York, they just think of like the main tribes, you know, like Cherokee, tribes that people hear about a lot, Navajo Nation, things like that. So I kind of want my art to speak for being Shinnecock.
What is the shortest piece that you've done? Short amount of time, and what's the longest amount of time?
One that I could say I finished. If it's
your answer, whatever.
it's hard to say. No, it's hard to say because of work. I don't have the time that I would like to have to create, so I have to make the best out of the time that I have. There was a period where I was only doing art, and I think I finished a 3 foot by 4 foot painting in about 2 months. If I'm doing something realistic, it'll take a little longer. But usually the backgrounds for the pieces come faster. So I would say a month to 2 months, and then I recently finished a piece that took me about 9 months, 9 or 10 months. I didn't bring it with me, but it's pretty large. It's like 8 feet. I had an opportunity to show a painting in Southern Florida at an art gallery, and they inspired me to just buy a canvas roll and just however big I want the piece to be, just cut the canvas, paint it, and then I can stretch it myself to make it whatever size I want to make it. So I just started going all out, making large paintings.
What do you do in your work experience? What's your work experience? And have you ever done a residency, an artist residency?
I work in the automotive industry. I work in service. So I don't know, you take your car to the dealership to get service. So that guy that comes out and lets you know you need wiper blades and tires and things like that, that's me. But I got into that to kind of help with art. You know, talking to different people. Yeah, I have to deal with a lot of different personalities like every day. And that would be the same thing for me at a gallery presentation or something. You know, someone I don't know is going to ask me about my artwork, and then, you know, being able to communicate with them and talk to them, or just make them feel like welcome, not like closed off. So that's why I got into that, just to kind of help with that. And I haven't done a residency. My residency was just books, like books about art, being an artist, and my studio. Like
Where do you work at? I mean, where are you located?
Tennessee. Tennessee right now. Yes, ma'am. Laverne, right outside of Nashville, like in between Murfreesboro.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been there for like 2 months now. They have a, you know, I've seen the art scene out there. It's okay, but I really like, in my search, I don't see a lot of Native work. Like I think I know amongst other Native Americans, there's probably a large like support for it, but outside of it, like I don't see it. None of the galleries I've been to or anything like that. So in a way, I feel like it's kind of an opening just for me to make a spot for other Native artists. Like even if it's not me, maybe somebody that comes up under me, you know, behind me will have an opportunity to talk about, you know, their tribe and things like that. Because I think it's kind of getting washed out, you know. Yeah, there's really not a lot going on Native-wise outside of the community. So I just kind of want to take that and put it out there more. So a lot of the pieces I do are becoming more and more about being Shinnecock. And
Do you sell a lot, or do you have a place that you store them?
I have sold a few of my Shinnecock pieces, not in the galleries though. So in the beginning, I quit my job. I was like, I'm going full-fledged artist. I got a car to drive for Uber just to, you know, make cash in between selling paintings. And one of the guys I gave an Uber ride to, I was just telling him what I was doing. He invited me in his home. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning. And when I got into his house, it was just a lot of paintings, statues. You know, there wasn't a TV in there. You know, he was an art collector. And I was telling him what I was painting, why I was painting it. He wanted to see some pieces. I went home, I got the painting of Sunshine, and I think I did a painting of a tiger as well, and a wolf that I brought to his house. And he purchased all 3 of them.
There you go. That tiger paints
Thank you, thank you.
very nice.
Yeah, it's like I like nature. I have an appreciation for nature. So painting like animals, landscapes, seascapes, you know, all of that, I take into it and want to get better at it. And I think that's still a part of being Native, because, you know, our people, you know, we were from the land. Like from all the stuff that I've researched and what I've experienced being here on Shinnecock and coming to powwows and things like that, and just reading about other tribes, it's more of like from the land and appreciating nature. And I think like naturally I have that. So that, you know, I'll put that in my artwork as well. Right now I'm kind of playing with the idea about using a turtle and a whale, like something from the tribal seal that represents the people, to kind of make it into a piece. I've been sketching around with stuff, but you guys will probably see it.
My question, do you sketch out this stuff first?
Sometimes, if I'm going for speed, I will like graph it. You know, I'll graph it or I'll use a stencil. But if I want to just like test myself, I'll just go like just using a picture or just off the top of my head. So like this one here, I sketched it from a photo, and then from that sketch, I just painted that.
You sketch something on a piece of paper?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. because a lot of times I can't get the subject matter that I'm looking for, so I have to like go back to the basics. Like as a creative, so I think some of you guys can understand it, but like I'll stop painting for a month and just work in my sketchbook, just doing quick sketches, going out, sketching what I see in public, like just to kind of like exercise. And then I'll come back to the canvas and like, okay, now what am I gonna make out of what I've just experienced?
So that would be your artistic practice.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have an atmosphere that you like to create before you start working? Like music, lighting?
Oh, absolutely, music. I listen to music. I don't even know the words to the song. It just has a nice vibe to it. So it's more or less like I have to empty out everything to be as creative as I can be at that moment. So I try not to think about, you know, what I have to do that day, things from work. I try to block out as much as possible. So definitely music, being to myself, some strong coffee. Like I drink a lot of coffee when I'm working. I don't know what it is, but something about like having the jitters like makes me work better. So, and then just time. Like I think the hardest thing for me now is time. Cause like I said, it's been 7 years. So the first few years, it was all experience, displaying at every opportunity I got, regardless of whether they cared about Native American art or not. Not knowing how to do something, how to mix colors, it's all self-taught, just trial and error. But now that I know where I'm going with it, like I'm starting to seek, my crowd, if that makes any sense. I don't want to mass produce the work. I want my work to stay as close to one of one as possible.
So you don't plan on doing any prints?
Not of my paintings. Like I would do like maybe a specific piece and just make prints of that piece. But anything that I paint, I just want it to stay one of one. Because in art galleries, a lot of times that's what they're attracted to, like the rarity of the work. So let's just say this painting, I don't have a title for it. I just marked it as untitled. But if I did 1,000 prints, if I did like 1,000 prints of that, 1,001 people would have it. But if I just did one and that one person has it, that makes it like it holds more value. People inquire about it more. The story of it becomes more attractive, and it becomes more of a collective, because that's kind of where I want my art to be. I want it to be like art museum status, and like people actually know about the work, where it came from, and they want to collect it. It's not just, oh yeah, he was painting. So I submit to galleries like all the time.
How do you do that?
Emails or
Send a copy of the photograph?
just send them a photo, or I'll go to the gallery. So I'll look up an art gallery, go in there just to see art, and if the curator, starts talking to me, sometimes they'll ask. I leave little like subtle hints. Like I'll go in there with a pair of shorts with like paint all over it and a t-shirt with paint all over it. And they'll ask questions, and then when I tell them, what I'm up to, and then they'll want to see it. I've had some places tell me, like, oh, that doesn't fit, what they display. But some people, even if they didn't take it right then, they keep up with like what I'm doing. Like they'll ask to see some of my recent work and things like that. But it's dangerous because they want you to create art that fits into their gallery. Like if I walk into an abstract art gallery with one of my realistic paintings, they'll say, oh, well, do you have anything abstract? But people who like abstract work can appreciate realistic work as well. But that's just up to the gallery owner. And sometimes trying to get my point across, I'll go home and I'm like, I probably could make an abstract native piece. And then I'll try it. I may or may not like it. And then it's like, you know what? Nah, that's just not my style. And then I'll just paint something else. that I actually enjoy.
Could you abstract that?
I've tried,
You have?
not that particular painting, but I've tried to do it. It's harder than you think.
Okay.
Like people, I've seen art in galleries, and it's like I could do that, but then I'll go home and try it, and I can't. I think it just goes with the artist, and because I want my work to have more of a story behind it, it won't allow me to make it simple. Like I've tried to do people with just using shapes. Like right now, I'm working on ascuism. So that's just like once I put the paintbrush or the pencil or marker or whatever on the canvas, I can't pick it up until I'm finished. And I have to draw what it is I'm trying to draw with just one line. I want to use that and realism. But like I said, I'm working on it just to stand out. And then once I stand out, then I can maybe bring people into what I'm actually trying to do. You know? Anybody else?
What do you do to get out of art block?
Exercise, go for walks, just try something new that you've never done before. Like take a class, like because I think art blocks are like a lack of inspiration. Like you'll get caught in just like I haven't sold a painting in 6 months, or I haven't done anything new in X amount of time. But I think just getting out and having fun. So like I ride bikes, go for walks, just even around the neighborhood, listening to music, stepping outside of my comfort zone. Like right now, this is outside of my comfort zone. But doing it, I think it's gonna help me grow. It's gonna help me be more expressive in person, and it'll help me be more expressive in my art. So yeah, like if you're in a block, or just go back to the basics. Just whatever you're trying to accomplish that you're not able to because you feel blocked up, just go back to sketching or building basic clay models, like whatever it is that you do, just go back to the basics and get better at that, and then go to where you're going, and it'll probably help. Try a different art form. Do you write?
Yeah.
Okay. Play music? Play music. Yeah, just play music. Just do something different. The block is just a lack of inspiration, and you can get inspired by anything. And try to write it down, capture it, take pictures of it, like whatever you can do so that it's not lost in translation. Because I had a thought earlier today. I stopped over at the beach. I walked down the beach. I took some photos, and then I had a thought, but I didn't write it down, and it's gone. It might come back.
How old are you?
38. I'm getting there. Positive.
Sounds like a senior moment.
Will you paint from your photographs?
What do I paint from my photographs?
Well, will you, do you?
Yes. Like, do you ever just, I don't know, like stare at the canvas? Like, it's like I'll be sitting in front of my canvas for 2 hours, and I'm just looking at it. Just waiting on it to, to take form. So sometimes I'll sit there and I'll go through like photos that I have. I had a photo of Shanae that I finally was able to do in a painting, but I mean I had the photo for like a year, and it just took that long to come to light, like to turn into something. But the more I try to revamp it, the more content I need. So lately, I only come out here. I come out here often, but it's like during events, powwows and events like this that I'm doing, things like that. But I actually feel like being a part of things that go on would help me as far as like inspiration, Because I think it's like the task is hard. Art is tough, like trying to sell something that you created, or even just inform people of something that you actually believe in is tough. Some people may not appreciate it at all. You get like little slick remarks about it, things like that. But the fact that I really believe in it, I have to it just makes me want to be a part of it more. Because now I have more to stand on when I say, like, I create Native American art from my tribe. Not just, yeah, or it's just like a dream catcher or, you know, things like that. I think of like Renaissance art, like all of the figures and the muses from those paintings in like the 1700s and 1600s that people still talk about. We don't know anything about the people, what they did, nothing like that. But they're here and we're talking about them as far as art goes. So in my mind, when I'm spinning my story or daydreaming about things that could happen, you know, that's kind of like what fuels it. So it's like 200 years from now, would a painting of a Shinnecock tribal member be in an art gallery and they're talking about the tribe and the muse and me as an artist and our story? I hope so. But if I don't create the pieces, they're not going to talk about it. So I just have to keep painting, you know, keep finding different things. So like now that I'm here now, it's more like landscape focused. I was in Florida, but I saw everything that was going on with the tree by the entrance of the reservation, and you know the town was trying to cut it down or something like that. So like at that moment, I was like, you know, I should probably get some photos, you know, learn more about the history of it, and then actually paint it and talk about it. So it's not like just talking about it when or they're trying to cut it down or it's gonna go away or something, but talk about it in a more enlightening light. Like, oh, this tree has been here for, you know, X amount of time, you know, things like that. And then the fact that I'm actually from the land that it's on, you know, I think that makes it hold even more value.
Isn't that tree gone
No. Everybody's like, really, Linda? Really? No, she knows that. She's just trying to spruce it up a little bit. No? I know I did. That's how I felt. That's how I felt. But even in like so modern times, like I'm not sure what the highway is, but where the billboards are, you know, that's something that's probably gonna be there for a while that wasn't there before. So, you know, maybe I could use that in a painting, like things like that. Like that's how I try to get everything together before I actually do a piece. Sometimes I get frustrated with it and I'll just be like, you know what, I'm gonna just do this for now and then we'll come back to that later.
Did you say you went to school in Atlanta?
For a little bit.
Atlanta
Yeah.
School of Art?
The Art Institute of Atlanta, yes. I went for 3D animation though. This was before painting. I was just drawing at the time. I knew I liked art. I wanted to do something art related. So working for Pixar was what the goal was. So I went to art school, but art school is crazy expensive. And they kind of, you know, basically just sat me down one day and was like, well, you either got to pay this amount or you can't go here anymore. And I was just like, okay, like that sucks, but you know, just keep moving. But I'm glad I did it because now I'm doing painting, and honestly, out of all the art forms that I've done, like I enjoy painting more than anything.
Is that acrylic?
Acrylic. It's acrylic for now.
Have you done watercolor?
Watercolor is okay. It's not for me. It's not for me.
How do you feel about oils?
I haven't tried them yet. I want to though. But like I did like some reading about it because like I said, like it's all self-taught. And it just seems like there's a process to it that I may or may not want to get into. Like they use a lot of like things to like make it more like liquefy it, and they suggest you wear gloves when you do oil painting because the oil is cancerous, and like it's like a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm just like, like yeah, like I just want to get to it. But I'll probably still try it because of the blending. It stays wet longer, so you can like walk away from it and come back to it and like keep working. See, if I go away from one of my pieces for too long, when I come back, everything's dry. The palette I'm working on is dry, the canvas is dry, and then I have to try to mix those colors all over again.
So when you did something that took 9 months, was that an acrylic?
Mm-hmm.
So you had to keep redoing your palette?
Yes, ma'am. Trial and error. But it works out. It works out. And like a lot of things, like sometimes I trip people out because like I'm colorblind. Like I can only identify certain colors without the name on it. So I do all of that. Sometimes my browns will start going to green because I know I have to mix blue with brown to make it darker. But if I try to lighten that color with like a yellow or something, it'll turn green because of the blue. But I had to learn that. I couldn't tell.
Did somebody tell you?
Mm-hmm. My son.
Oh,
Dad, why are you painting green people? I was like, ooh. I was like, green. I was like, bro, are you sure that's green? He's like, Dad, it's green. I was like, okay. So, but I learned. So now, I'm okay.
That's such an amazing thing to talk about for people with disabilities who would think like, oh, I can't try because I'm colorblind. Do you present to children, young people sometimes?
No, ma'am. I've done one paint class, but there weren't kids. But I've never done anything like that. No. I just paint in my garage or my room or wherever I'm painting at the moment, and that's it. But trying to get where I'm getting, I'm realizing like as an artist, it's not just about creating the pieces that I want to create. Sometimes it's good to do a workshop, with kids or with adults, and it all just gives inspiration. I may inspire somebody else. I hope that I get to set it off, but maybe somebody that I inspire sets it off. Like I've even started thinking like that lately. Just from like going like meeting other people. So when I got to Georgia and I decided to actually pursue art and I was meeting all of these other artists, like that's what they did. A lot of them, oh no, I got to do a thing down at the community center. It's nothing serious, just just painting, but it's artistic and it's good. It clears artist block, like it'll help get out of your block. There's nothing like more inspiring than like seeing somebody that's younger than you with like more talent or more ability, and you can kind of already see like, dang, like if he keeps that up, like he's gonna be good. So then I'll go home and then I'm like, that's why I need to work on something now, and then that'll push me to work on something. But ultimately, I just want to make a name for myself and tell people like where my inspiration comes from.
Durrell, I've seen some of your work on Instagram, and I think you may be surprised at how much you have inspired people. I've seen some of the comments. And,
Yeah. Yeah, it's good, and I appreciate it. Like I know when we like scrolling and stuff, like you don't think comments like, oh, I was like, oh yeah, that's nice, and then but I do. I try not to get caught up in it, but I do sometimes. And then it's just nice, like when I get support and inspiration from like the people that I'm actually working with, the muses that I use, things like that. So it definitely helps. I know I said like this was gonna be like an art talk, but like I know talking about it, it still kind of makes me talk about like what inspires me. Some of the stuff I say like it may repeat, but that's just because when it all boils down to it, like that's the main focus. Like I could be out here painting cartoon characters and a lot of the stuff that everybody else paints, but I think I was blessed with something that everybody can't draw from, and that's what I should use.
Have you ever been commissioned, or I don't know what the right term is, but actually somebody asked you to do an art piece for money and you was able to produce it?
Absolutely, a few times. Those sales are actually clutch. Like they come at a time where I may be debating on if I'm going to be able to, because we're all adults. Life, paying bills, going to work, and it's just like, dang, like am I really gonna be able to do this? And then out of nowhere, there'll be an email or a DM, somebody's inquiring for something, and I do it, and it's like, yeah, like of course you will, bro. You just have to be patient. But I've done a few commissions. Most of the commissions that I do based on my own legwork. Nothing that like a gallery representative or anything set up for me. In a book that I read, this guy was talking about a guerrilla art fair, and that's basically where he basically finds ways to like bully his art into certain crowds. So I would drive around with like paintings in my car, try to make it look like I have a reason to take the paintings out of the car so people would see them. And I've gotten like excellent feedback from my work. It's an opportunity to give out business cards, talk about things. Sometimes I'll get a lead to a guy. And they kept them for about a year and a half. I didn't sell any of them, but just that opportunity of like that experience, kind of made me aware of what I need to do or how I need to approach the next time I get the chance to display in a gallery that sells work internationally, has a much wider range, to display work to, further than what I'm gonna do on Instagram and things like that. And Instagram, like stuff like that really doesn't do it any justice, because I think seeing the pieces in person, it's a lot better than, what you look at on your screen. Like you see it and you're like, oh, that's nice. But when you're looking at it in person and you can kind of see the details and get the feel for what's going on, it does a lot more to it. Yeah. So I look for those kind of opportunities a lot more than like paying for promotion and, having like an Etsy account and things like that. I've tried it before, but most of my success has come from person-to-person interaction, like in-person interaction, for sure.
Do you do powwows?
Live painting, like during powwow, or
No,
displaying during powwow?
Sell your work display your work at.
No, I haven't. There was one time I was going to do it, but I didn't. I wasn't able to like come. I was like in between jobs and I wasn't able to come at that powwow. Like I've thought about it, but I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot going on during powwow. If I did something for powwow, it would be maybe like a series of pieces, like just for powwow, and then that would be like a time where I would have prints, things like that. But for like the paintings I do personally that I think about and stuff like that, I would want to do those like in my studio, and then use those pieces to like put in galleries or like display opportunities. Because it's a lot going on with powwow. So like with the dancing and all the other vendors and people talking to each other right there in the open, it would be hard to kind of like talk about artwork in that kind of setting. But if I did something, like I've thought about doing something like digitally to like make shirts and prints and things like that, like something like that I would definitely do like during powwow.
Well, I mean, like other powwows around the area.
No, I haven't been to any other powwows. I've tried to backpack on Auntie Linda's powwow trips, but like work just gets in the way.
Yeah.
And it sometimes it drives me to like really just want to quit my job and just give it a shot, like full-fledged. But it makes me kind of nervous too. And I got responsibilities and things like that, so I try to be smart about it, but sometimes I kind of just want to cut all ties and just go out there full-fledged. I've done it before and I was making progress. But at that time, I was doing like a lot of, I don't want to call it like hype art, but I was still like kind of figuring it out. So I was doing like musicians, sports players. I got an opportunity with a guy who runs a lot of galleries in Atlanta, Georgia, Maya Bailey. Like he had like tattoo parlors, and then he opened up like art galleries, and then he started giving local artists chances to put their art on display. I did a few things with them, projects. I was able to work with T.I. He opened up like a museum out there for like the kind of music he creates. And I was part of that, like for the opening, but I was painting like their record label logos. You know, it wasn't like what I wanted to do. It was just for them. But it was still experience that I talk about because it's something that I did accomplish. I worked with Facebook. Like Facebook reached out to me for Indigenous Peoples Day one year. So I was able to do a piece for them for their platforms. Like I think it was Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So I was able to create that. And just, you know, over time, those kind of experiences, along with the commissions that I do, along with the original pieces that I sell, all of that just, I think over time is going to make me a better artist. I do.
Do you feel like you're speaking with your art primarily to other Native people or non-Native people or a mix?
It just depends on where I'm at. I talk about it with everybody, though. People who aren't familiar with Native people or like culture or know that, like you'd be surprised, like some of the things I've heard, but it's just the opportunity to inform them and tell them about it. Like the guy that I sold the piece to from the Uber ride, you know, him and his wife were shocked. Like they were like, wow, really, in New York? And they're like all on Google and looking up things. And, you know, I'm telling them about, because I think I used one of the backgrounds from by the beach, and I put sunshine, a portrait of sunshine in front of it. So explaining all of that to him, and then him and his wife's interest in the tribe just because they had never heard of it, and I'm talking about it. You know, I think all of that led into the actual collection of the piece. If I try to like, oh, like they wouldn't understand. Like if I do that, I think I'm cutting myself short because they may not understand initially, but maybe just by looking at the piece and talking to me and, you know, a little bit of research, you know, they'd be more open to it. So there's that aspect as well. And then, you know, some people just like, cause you know, I have locks and they're like, oh, I didn't know Indian people have dreads. It's like come on, bro. But it's cool. It honestly, it's made me think about like doing a self-portrait. Cause I never wanted to do a self-portrait, but I think I will. But I'm going to make myself seem like quote unquote more native, like when I do it. Like I'm gonna keep the locks, but maybe with like a headdress on or something. Like it's just something I'm bouncing around. I may or may not get around to it, but because a lot of artists do self-portraits. I don't take a lot of pictures, so there's not like a lot of photos of me and stuff like that. Like people see the work, they don't even, oh, that's you? Like, yeah, because I don't post pictures of myself. But you know, certain things like that kind of makes me want to dive into it. It just makes me nervous though. It's like I have to study a picture of myself to paint it. And then it's like, you know what? I really don't like the way my tooth looks right there. So I'm gonna make it look the way I want it to look. Nah, I wouldn't do that, but it kind of makes me think about it sometimes. And then even in like even modern times, so like there's a lot of like electronic displays on the res now. Last time I was out here, I don't think the sign in front of the center was there. I know the community center didn't look the way it looked the last time I was out here. I know there's probably like photos of like the land, you know, before all of that stuff like got put up and was built. But like while I'm out here, I'm just taking pictures of everything. So all of this is gonna go back to Tennessee with me, and I'm probably gonna paint something, you know, that kind of portrays like what the community center is now. You know, like just more landscapes. You know, a lot of people identify landscapes and things like that. So I think it's cool that only a select few could identify the landscapes that I paint. And then they'd be like, oh, like, where's that? And then once again, that's an opportunity to just enlighten people that may not know. And then I always tell them, you know, like, yeah, like come to Long Island, come to the powwow, like see it for yourself. You might even run into her, you know? And they're like, oh yeah, like we'll come check it out. I haven't seen them though, but you never know.
So how long are you here now?
Until Monday.
And painting or just taking pictures?
Just taking pictures, participating in the art talk. I had an option to do a workshop or art talk, but I think the art talk would have been more, it would have been harder for me. It would have been more of a challenge, so that's why I chose it.
I have a question.
I'm listening.
If given an opportunity, would you paint a mural if there was a piece of property out here that was available?
Absolutely.
Everybody agree to have your
Absolutely.
art displayed on
Like when I
building or
oh, I
something?
would. When I first started talking about painting, like references from the tribe and things like that, that I know they were like, somebody had mentioned something about repainting the side of the center, and I think you originally painted that, right, on the side of the center, and you know, I just was like, well, if that ever comes to, like, just make sure I know about it. Like if it's something that like a collective, like I would want to be a part of it. I've wanted to do murals, but because I never had like the builders and stuff, that kind of what led to me doing the size paintings that I do or that I have done. Like just buying a canvas roll and just making, you know, this extremely large painting. But then I don't have anywhere to display it because it's so big. So I'll paint it, I'll leave it nailed up like on my wall for a little bit. And then when I gotta paint something else, I take it off and roll it up. And then it sits until it gets put on display.
That
Nah.
mural that was painted on the side of the community center, that was in conjunction with the parent committee on Shinnecock as ways of getting the community together. So when I sketched it out, designed it, when the community came in and painted certain parts.
And everybody just came in and worked on it. Yeah.
And that was from Long Island Traditions with Nancy Solomon. And then Violet here has taken over that.
Oh, hey, how's it going?
Post on Long Island Traditions.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a really cool project to do.
that's nice. Well, if it ever comes to something like that again, that's kind of like redoing it, I definitely want to be a part of it.
Well, then I'll take this opportunity to say that there's a lot of damage on that exterior wall. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done, so that might be coming sooner than.
Well, that was what you would plaster it. Well, not really plaster, but they would.
It was house paint.
I don't know what it's called.
Actually, Fred Best Power had to power wash it first to get to the cement, and then a primer went on. But it lasted as long as Jeremy's been alive because he was a baby.
I was about to say it's been there since I can remember.
Years ago.
Yeah, it's been there since I can remember, so it definitely withstood. It stayed.
It was funded. It wasn't just, oh, let's go paint the side of the community center. And
Yeah.
sometimes people say, oh, we'll fund you, and then that goes away.
Yeah.
That's why we have a hard time with power, huh? Somebody said-
Because I know, yeah, art supplies, they're not cheap at all. At all. I tried to like minimize how much paint I would waste, and I couldn't get anything done. So now I just look at it like it doesn't even matter. You know, I just need paint. That's all there is to it. So I just, you know, like I'm getting low now. I'm getting ready to have to put an order in and get the box shipped. Nah, at all. At all. And you know, you have to explain that. Because a lot of people, you know, it took a while. The first painting I sold it for $100. And I just did a commission of somebody's dog that I worked with. The next one I sold, it might have been around the same. You know, I stayed at like that 100, 150, 200 for a while. And then I saw a painting sell for like $7,000. And I'm looking at it. So it's like what makes it $7,000? And I toyed with that for years. but it's like not even just the supplies you put into it, but the time, you know? So like every painting that I do moving forward from today, I've already invested 7 years into that painting. You know, 3 years from now, that'll be 10 years that I've invested into that painting. And essentially, like, that's what, along with like the story or the reason why you do it and how the person that's going to collect it views it, like all of that plays into it. So I had to step out of a comfort zone because I've told people $2,000 for a painting, and then they're like, oh, you know, well, why should I pay $2,000 for it? And then I'll tell them why I feel like they should pay $2,000 for it. And it kind of changes how they view it. It doesn't necessarily guarantee they'll collect it, but they understand a little more. So like a story about that, a guy that I met in Florida that I worked with, automotive industry, you know, he's all about the business. And he used to always tease me because if we're slow at work and I get paid on commission, so I'm not getting paid by the hour to be there. Like I want to go home and work on my craft. In that industry, they don't really see that as like, you know, like, no, you can't go home. Like we're here till 6 o'clock. But certain managers would let me do it. So this guy would always give me crap about it. Like, oh, like Durrell just wants to go home and paint this and this and this. And I did a painting of a horse. I did a horse and a tiger at the same time. I was just felt like painting animals at that time. And his daughter ended up like liking the painting. Like she saw it and, you know, she was like getting mad because I was putting it back in my car and all this other stuff. And he had to pay me $1,800 for it. So it's like I wasn't, nah, it was cool. Like it was like, see, Stefan, like that's what I'm talking about, bro. Like when I first showed you this painting, you used to give me crap about it. Oh, who's gonna pay that amount of money for a painting? But just over the course of knowing me and talking to me and seeing how serious I was about it, it's like I'm glad that somebody like you had to get it. I'm glad you had to get it, bro. So I actually spoke to him on the way up here. Cause he recently like started his own business, so he's doing some other stuff now. But I told him, I was like, bro, I'm on the way to New York to do an art event. And he was like, still painting, huh? I was like, yeah, I am. And he's been talking to me about something he wants for him and his wife. So it's like, bro, like it's coming, but you know, sooner than later, cause the next piece you collect from me, it might be $5,000. You know, so don't wait too long, bro. But yeah, so it was all a learning process. But it's not even like because like I'm not even doing it, like I try not to get caught up in like what my pieces could sell for. Cause I've met artists who sell work for $20,000, like just one painting. There's no, you know, story behind it, you know, but it looks nice, like nothing against, you know, any other artist's work. But like there's no story behind it. It's just something that they created and they're still able to have a piece collected for that amount of money. So I hope my work gets to that point, but I try not to get too caught up in it. Like I do what I do because I like it. Like I just like drawing. A lot of the people in here right now know I've been drawing since I was a kid, but now I finally like have a reason to like want to pursue it as like a career and like have make a living off of it. Because I see other artists that do it, so why not? You know? I'm trying to think. There was one guy I was working with. It was like a small event that we did together. He's not painting anymore, but he's building like sets. But he got an opportunity to do, I think, a set for the BET Awards. He did that set, and like slowly but surely, like I've seen him do something in all of these, you know, record artists and record labels, and they'll be doing an event and they call him to build the set now. And, you know, he's enjoying it. So it's like, I know it's there, but I just have to keep going. That's it. Just get better in what I'm doing and tell my story. Cause like they're doing sets and things like that, but I want my story, I want mine to last. Like I kind of want to have myself up there with like the Renaissance artists that they teach about in art school and about their technique, or how painting, you know, nude women in the 1700s was frowned upon. But then this one particular dude just decided to paint a nude woman and actually put it on display, and it just caused this whole movement of people painting nude figures. You know, so I kind of want to do that to where Native American artwork is like more seen. It's not just limited to like our communities. But to do that, I feel like I have to learn more about Native American art. Like not just me painting members of my tribe and things like that, but actual Native American art. You know, like just the simple, I guess it would be like you know, figurative, I guess. Like, you know, water would just kind of be like 3 flowing lines, or at least that's what Google says, but I'm pretty sure it's different depending on the tribe that was doing it. So I kind of want to learn more about what our tribe did when it came to art and symbols and tools and things like that. And I feel like that would make my work, you know, more authentic. You know, you have like still life, and, you know, there's like clay pottery and things like that. But what about like tools that a Native American tribe would use before, you know, forks and brooms and things like that? Like, what did the tools look like? So I know somebody has that kind of information or photos or whatever it is, and then I can kind of use that like in my work. Like I've kind of wanted to do something like inside of a hut, you know, like people talk about teepees and things like that. But I would want to paint like what it would look like inside of one. So I recently, like across the street from the church, I saw that, what is that, like I guess it's like a sculpture that's across from the church. It's like the teepee and then like yeah. So I took photos of that like inside and things to kind of use as like references to something that I want to create along those lines. And then, you know, playing with colors, trying different colors out. Like, I really just want to be like the best artist from like that paints from Shinnecock that has come out so far, or that's out there now.
Try to paint something and it doesn't look like you want it to, and then you say, okay, fine, let's paint all over.
There's something under that, absolutely.
It's a painting under that.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a painting, but I was trying some stuff out. But that happens. That's why I like painting. Like I could mess up just one portion of it, and then I can just go back and fix it. You know, I just paint it like the background color, like water. I'll just paint that section of it blue, you know, let it dry, and then come back to it and, you know, fix whatever it was that I didn't like about it. So yeah, hey, what's going on, Maya?
I would say that I've heard you say that you want to be a painter and you want your paintings to live and be talked about and remembered, and you as the artist who created them. And I would say as a person who loves art but doesn't own art, I own children's books. And I believe that art and children's books is there's a relationship that, you know, when you get a good illustrator who can help with a story, especially fiction or nonfiction, you know, that artist becomes, you know, almost bigger than the writer, because you can look at those images and see. And so like an image like this tells so many stories. So I would not limit yourself to just being a painter. You know, be an illustrator, be a children's illustrator.
Yeah.
You know, use your art to tell a story, not just have a visual story.
Yeah.
If you can find someone who can match words with your story, or you match your images with their words, you know, you can have a long career where people will remember you for your books.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And that's not off the table. Like I would illustrate something. I'd definitely be open to that, because I draw cartoons as well. I just don't, you know, I don't paint cartoons.
It's like a book about Shinnecock. I mean, I'm always waiting for that book about
Yeah.
Shinnecock. I don't know why I'm always waiting
Well,
for
some
somebody
people
to
can
write it.
write.
So like another.
Someone can write. I wish I knew who that person was.
Someone's been talking about doing a book for a
Yeah,
long
someone,
time.
yeah.
You can name any
Somebody.
Who's getting thrown under the bus?
I already have one piece of art for that book, but Denise hasn't really committed. She hasn't signed a contract with me.
Yeah.
You can
So I
present a contract.
So I might need more illustrations for my book. I need more illustrations for my book.
Well, I'll give you my contact information, and we can talk about some things.
Not pages.
But I did want to know, like, for the art enthusiasts that are here, whether you create it or you just admire it, like if you could see like something that resembled the tribe, like what would it be? And that's just open ended, like even from people that aren't like art enthusiasts, because I'm just curious. Like I would want to know. I know what I paint, but like what would everybody else want to see if that was something that like they could like choose?
Well, I think we could use more landscape paintings because, the landscape is changing all the time. So the way it used to look last week is going to be different than this week, and the way it looked 20, 30, 40 years ago is definitely changed.
Yeah.
So, and as a person who likes nature, I love the wildflowers of Shinnecock. I love the trees of Shinnecock, and I think that if we had more landscape painters, that would be a nice way to honor, honor the land and remember the land and
Yeah.
respect the land.
Yeah, I've thought so too.
Put that in my book.
What's up, Michelle? What you think?
When I see the tribe, I just see, we're very, there's so many different, I guess, styles of us, like, everybody's different shade, different hair, different, like, everybody, when they think of Native American, they think that we are supposed to be light only and
Yeah, in like the traditional sense. Yeah.
right. And with
Stereotypical.
yeah,
There you go.
exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
With the wavy hair, all of that stuff, and we are people who have differences, a lot of differences. A lot of people with different hair, and
Yeah. So I've wanted to do like a group, almost like a scene, like similar to this piece. Like I keep looking at this piece because that's something I have not done yet. Like I haven't done like a full scene, like with a lot going on. There's landscape, there's people, they're actually doing activities. Like people are welcoming them home. They're getting off the boat. You got boats going out. Like, and I want to do something like that. Like that's kind of something that I want to do on like a larger scale, because I'm just attracted to like how long is it going to take me to do it. Like if it took me a year to finish a painting, I would not be mad at all, as long as I got what I was going out for,
I really, hearing you talk about how long it takes to create a piece is, I won't use the word inspiring, but, I want to do something different than that. Because I'm impatient with what I do, so I want to be able to finish it in short order. If I can't finish it in short order, then I guess it'll sit over there until the next thing. So when you said it takes that long, I said, oh, so I need to stop being so impatient with the thing, because I don't know. I mean, I can sketch and pencil draw, but I've not tried painting on canvas. I tried painting on a jacket. I tried painting on woven stuff. And why didn't you try on canvas first? Isn't that easier than all these other mediums that you're choosing?
Not necessarily, but I'm impatient too. Like being patient is part of the process I've learned, because I'll try to rush it, but when I try to rush my work, I make mistakes. I mess up. I'll mix the colors wrong, or I'll spend too much time working on something and then it's not even nowhere near close to where I wanted it to be or anything like that. And then I have to tell myself like, okay, you just need to like walk away from it. So it may take a day. Maybe I just need to not do anything with it tonight and just worry about it tomorrow. So that it comes with it. I'm impatient too. Don't feel bad. It happens. But I just know if I try to rush it, I'll make a mistake, or something won't turn out the way I wanted to. Whereas if I just say, all right, so today I'm just focusing on the water, and I'll mix the palette and I'll just work on the water. If the water's going the way I want it to, I keep it moving. If it's not, or I hit a point where I feel like I should stop, okay, well, for the time, I'll just go back over here and work on this part of it. And I kind of, bounce around. And then it still may change the next day. Like this painting here, like the kind of forest landscape in the background, like that went through a lot because at first it wasn't coming out the way I wanted it to, and something I'm trying to work more into my work is depth. Like, not being scared to like make dark points in the painting darker and lighter points lighter, like to give it like that contrast. I had to walk away from it for a little while, then come back and make sure my greens are greens and I'm not adding too much this. And so yeah, don't feel bad about that. And as creators, like, we're all different. So just because you can do a painting in 3 days, if I'm trying to do what you're doing, it might not work. It may just take me 5 months to do one painting, and that's okay. And then for the audience that my work talks to, that'll be for them. Because I'm fighting that. I'm trying to do like these simple paintings, but it's just not my style. It's not, and it's so hard to do. Like, only 3 colors, a few shapes, and maybe one like swift movement with the brush to make a painting. Like, I cannot do it. I can't. I've tried. I've showed it to gallery people that I'm in the works with, and they're like, yeah, just keep trying. Yeah, keep trying. That's not really it. And I'm like, well, like, what is it? Like, what's not it about it? Because to me, I think that's a pretty decent abstract painting. Yeah, that's not it, Durrell. What about your Indian work? Have you done any more paintings with that? And I'm like, nah, like, not really, not yet. So I'm just learning. 7 years, that's still not really that much time. So we'll just keep it going. Yes, for painting, yeah. Yeah, for painting, that's what it's been. Even
That painting there, excuse me, that to me is at Shinnecock Speaks. That's what it looks like. Have you gone there to their museum?
No, man.
Oh, you got to go. You have to go to check out the
Those
diorama.
trees.
You should go right now.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
trees. I've seen those trees from the hotel room.
Right.
Yeah.
And this native person right here, it looks like a
Wampanoag.
It's possible.
Yeah, is everybody going there to
Heck
You know I live there.
When is this?
Right?
Is that where you tried to get me to go that one time? You was going out there and you was like, Durrell, you need to come with me. And I was like, nah, I'm gonna just stay here. Oh, the museum. Okay, okay.
Native-owned museum, and the dioramas are similar to how we live. They have the wiki ups and the longhouses and different scenes, and it's a huge room where you can just spend hours. And then they have a whole research library. It's really amazing. I mean, you can go gambling, or
How far away is it from here?
Boat ride. They take the ferry.
Yeah.
Oh.
45 minutes.
45 minutes from the ferry.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah, really nice.
We can go now.
Yeah.
Let's go now.
But see, that kind of stuff is good though. Like, that's what I need. Because when I'm not here, it's all like urban hip hop culture, like sci-fi. Because I'm into like sci-fi and space and like all that kind of stuff. But I really can't I can't pull from any roots, like people who actually live here and know the culture and things. Like, I can't pull from any of that. I do it mentally. So like Auntie Linda, you post a lot of stuff. So like when you're out at like powwows and things like that, like I'm following that. And then I'll see something and I'll be like, okay, like I could probably pull something from this, and I'll take a picture of it. Like I said, I got photos from like 4 or 5 years ago. I haven't used them, but I just pull from them. Like when I'm just sitting there scrolling, like, okay, you know what, something like this. But I really do want to do something with a whale and a turtle. Like, I'm still trying to figure it out. Because I don't know if I want to make it abstract. Like, am I going to use this concept to like try something new? Or am I going to just, stick to what I know I am able to do and not experiment with it? Or I might do both.
In your photos, I'm sorry, do you hide anything in the picture? Like, nobody knew it was there, and you know it's there. So I've seen artists on the History Channel, they've hidden like tiny UFOs in the back of these pictures. And if you didn't know it was, somebody has to point it out to you.
So in the painting, I tried to hide it. I think it's kind of obvious, but it might be because I put it there. The first painting I did of sunshine on the tree, I made it look like somebody had carved Man Oasis in it. And that was just for Natal. Like, I know he has his clothing line, and it's a Shinnecock word, Man Oasis, for I fear no one.
Right.
So that was kind of like me, like, you know, using something that was modern that someone from the tribe was doing. And, you know, I put that in the tree. But since then, I don't think so. I don't think I have.
It's still in the picture?
Yeah, it's still in it.
Without pointing it out, you would want someone to find it, like just spot it.
If they were looking for it, you'd have to look for it. Because I still kind of play with like an abstract concept in it. So like the bark for the tree, it's like the tree is different shades of brown, but the bark for it is almost like what I was able to do for a tribal pattern at that time. So the words kind of go into the pattern a little bit, but you would have to like actually be looking at it like in order to see it. So when I told him it was in the painting, he didn't even know. And I'm like, bro, like look by the tree. Like I wanted it to like somebody carved it in the tree. And then he was like, oh, that's dope because like I see it now, you know. So that was cool. And I think Amir, I think one of his photos that he was in, we kind of talked about, but I didn't hide anything in it. Like I was gonna add like some native things to it, but in that particular one, the COVID-19 painting, where they're like walking through the street in New York. You've seen it. You probably just got to see it again, but I kind of wanted it to make it more modern, because you know, I think the closed offness of the outside world kind of, like you said, people give you like that stereotypical Native American thing, but it's like I kind of wanted to do something, and I make sure I tell them, I'm like the muses in this piece are, you know, Shinnecock Indian, and they're like, oh, like they don't look Indian, like they are though, you know, like it's okay.
According to
Yeah.
do we not look like Indians? But yeah.
You'd be
I think
surprised.
if you added little pieces like hiding the Man Oasis in there, it allows you to add multiple layers of Shinnecock.
See, that's why I'm glad I'm doing this, because that's actually a good idea. Like even if it's something simple, like just a medallion with the tribal seal, like something, like in some of the pieces that I do with water, I have put a whale fin like in the water, but I don't know why, for some reason, the two pieces that I have don't have the whale fin in it. But I've done it a few times, and I thought about maybe that could be like you know, my trademark to it. Yeah. Or if it's something with the land, you know, make sure there's like a turtle there. But turtles kind of blend in. Like I tried painting a turtle in grass before. It was difficult. Because the turtle's green and the grass is green. And you know but art. So I need to step up my turtle game a little bit. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Can I swim? Oh yeah, I love swimming.
Can you kayak?
I've never done it before. I want to.
You need to kayak around Shinnecock so you can see Shinnecock from the water. It has a whole other look.
I'm not big on seafood. Like I know we're big on like clams. Yeah, I know we're big on like clams and things like that, but I can't do no clams or oysters. Maybe I should try it again. The first time I gave it a shot, I did not like it. I mean, I can't. I'm not allergic to them. I just didn't like them. Uh-huh. That's why I said I need to spend more time up here. Like I need to be here more often.
Right, you know, right now the water.
Oh, yeah. If you taste it, you haven't had a Shinnecock oyster out of the water? How did you never want anybody else to try another one?
Not
Right out the
everybody
water.
likes oysters.
But you don't have
You
to
don't like oysters either?
I like clams.
Okay.
Listen, I don't like oysters either, but I put a big but on that because I took one of Chuck's down at Cuffy's
Yeah.
and took it home and do it on the grill, 'cause I knew I didn't like the way, the big difference between a clam and an oyster. And put that sucker on the grill.
Yeah, I'm down.
That's all I can say.
My sister was in town, and I took her down to the bay, and she said, "What are you looking for?" So I'm looking to see what the birds left, and so I found an oyster, large oyster too, and a clam. Well, the clam turns out was actually closed full of sand.
Right.
Okay, I'm like, dang. So I took the oyster, and it was a big oyster, and I did not want to open it. I just did enough of that, so I put it in the skillet, so it could steam a little tiny crack, just because I didn't want to cook. And I took that thing, a big oyster. That thing melted in my mouth. Just melts in your mouth. Nothing on it.
Shrimp.
Nah.
But I would try it though. I would try it again because I was a kid back. Like the first time I tried an oyster, and I was just like, nah, like I'm not eating that. Yeah, I'll try it again. But I do need to plan on like just spending time up here for like a month, and not just spending time, but like actually like being involved with some things, like going kayaking, like I talked to Vinny. I told him I want to go hunting. Like I've been like out, but not like actually hunting, or even not even like just to actually kill anything, but just that whole experience.
Yeah, be in the element.
Yeah. Like I wanna like do all of that, cause like I said, I think it'll help creatively. Cause one thing about being creative is like that inspiration can come from anywhere. Like you don't necessarily have to sketch out like a whole plan, or sketch out an image and then like build on top of that. Like I did this just because I wanted to do something that represented the tribe that had some water in it. And I remember I was gonna paint Shanae. I know she had been on a couple of trips out kayaking, but then I was like, nah, like I want it to be a little more like traditional. So I jumped on your Facebook, a couple other people's, and I just looked for somebody like canoeing in a log, and then I found the landscape of one picture, but it was kind of bare, like the trees weren't like as flush, but I wasn't worried about it. I was like, oh, I'll paint those in there, and then that's what made me paint that. I was gonna put a little bit more into it, like maybe like a fishnet or something off the side of the boat or off the side of the log, but I was running out of time. The trip was coming up. I was getting ready to leave. I told Jeremy I didn't even know if I'd be able to finish it like in time, but if I had kept going like with all the ifs and ands, I probably wouldn't have. But that's just something I'll just put on the next one, like the next time I do it, because I'm starting to understand like some of the items in the painting can tell the story for you. So like what you're saying about like just leaving little hints and things like that. Like I could do that with just like maybe like a beaded medallion with the tribal seal on it, but just somewhere in a painting where it would actually fit, like if I just did like inside somebody's home, like just some simple scene, like maybe somebody just sitting on the couch or something, but maybe like on the table, there's a beaded medallion there, and the tribal seal is in it, and then that alone would let people know like, oh, like that's somebody from Shinnecock, just watching TV or, whatever they get from the painting when they're looking at it. That's not a bad idea, Tori. I might use that. Appreciate it.
Well, I wanted to inspire you to start asking. There's a lot of, I had a conversation last night about like what are some of our Shinnecock like urban legends that we've always heard growing up. And I mean, there's some scary ones I don't want to say because like the scary man actually lives right on this street out here. I don't like to mention it.
Don't say it 3 times.
Yeah, exactly. So, but like some of those little things, like when you do a wooden scene, you could paint that shadowy figure just in the woods, but not so it's obvious, so that people from here would know exactly what that is, or somebody would
Or you
ask.
can build a story around it.
Yeah,
She mentioned.
And they say, on Shinnecock, we had this man called such and such that, What'd you say? Who said it? Somebody said it. See, now I got to go now.
What's he called? Fat?
No, but I
What
mean,
did he
like,
say?
little legends like that do go around.
Yeah.
And maybe hide them in the background. And it's just another reason for you to tell a different story about Shinnecock if someone asks.
Yeah.
You know, you could also include more of the animals of Shinnecock. You know, I know you said a turtle and a whale, but we also have, you know, pheasants and groundhogs and turkeys and raccoons.
And the deer.
Deer, foxes.
Yeah, I've seen a few deer all the time. I haven't seen a fox up here.
Oh, yeah, right down this road.
Sometimes a chipmunk will appear every once in a while. They've seen you.
The foxes? Oh, I believe it. I believe it. Mm.
Sometimes there's sounds in the woods, you don't know what it is.
Yeah, no, I do that. I'll sit out and listen. I do that. I sit out and listen. And I wanna catch one of the sunsets out by the beach too.
Sunset is nice.
By the beach? Oh yeah. Yeah. Like I want.
Sunrise is right down here.
Uh-huh.
Sunrises.
I know about by the beach, like right there on the beach.
Right in front of door.
No, there's a better spot.
This side.
No, where at? By where?
Sunset is okay. Sunrise is Hetty Creek. Sunset is over there by the beach.
Okay, because I've always wanted to paint a sunset, but I'm scared of the colors. But I'm getting over it because it's like pink, orange, like purple, yellow, and in my mind, all of that is just gonna. Yeah, it's good. Depending on the clouds, yeah.
It would be interesting for you to future forecast. What do you think Shinnecock looks like in the future? What would you like for it to look like? You know, that would be a fun assignment.
See, I never thought about that. That's something that would take. I'd have to think about it. Yeah.
The water is rising.
Yeah, I heard about that in New York. Like, they wasn't talking about like Long Island or nothing, but that's just global warming though. And then because of where we're located, that's what that is. When New York flooded, they were talking about that because they built that at the time to, like, you know, it could keep the water out. But if the sea level's going up, but the protection from that sea level isn't, you know, it's only a matter of time. Now, I have thought about that. I do think a lot. Sometimes the thoughts are cool. Sometimes they're a little, you know, on the off side. But on the off side, I've thought about it. Like when New York was flooding, I was like, dang, like, is the water going to get high enough to like take up the res, or like what's that going to do? You know. I was at the beach today looking at it, like where the water is at. Like I know the tide was kind of down because a lot of the seaweed and stuff you could see it, and then like crabs and all that, but. I don't know. That would be unfortunate, though.
You went to copies?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're on our land and our water and you see these mansions across the water, do they feel out of place to you as an artist, or do you feel out of place? Because that is our ancestral landscape. We were here first.
No.
Those mansions
I don't.
should be the thing that stands out as out of place.
I don't, because it's like that. I know that took place everywhere, not just, you know, on our land. And we're just kind of forced to like live in that time now. But that's why like little stuff like you know, talking about my artwork and things like that kind of puts people on it, because if you don't talk about it, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. So like when I talk about like my tribe and they're like, oh, like where are you guys from? And I'm like, Southampton. And they're like, ooh, Southampton. And it's like, yeah, but like, do you know? Or like people that like golf. Like I'll be like, oh, you follow golf? Like you know about the PGA Tour. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, like they actually play golf on some of our tribal land. And then they'll be like, oh, I didn't know that. It's literally, yeah, like it's part of the PGA stop, like the Shinnecock Hills. And it's like you, if you follow golf, you know that. You may just not want to get into that right now. But I'm not gonna make you, you know, it's cool. But just know I got a painting up here pertaining to that, and I'm gonna get around to it. I did a piece. I didn't bring it, but I did a piece when the burial ground was found. Like they were I guess some kind of development was going up, and they found some bones, and I did a piece dedicated to that. But I haven't displayed. I showed it when I was up here in 2020, but since then I haven't showed it anywhere. I just kind of have that one just on standby. So when it really, has to be seen, or people are more interested in like the tribal work that I do, then I bring it out. Because I still get requests to like paint musicians and things like that. Oh, you should do a painting of this person, and I'm like, you can pay me to paint it, and I'll paint it, but I'm not. Yeah, that's not the kind of painting I do. Yeah.
I just want to say, listening to you and seeing your art really inspired me too. I'm an artist as well.
Thank you.
Sitting there
Yeah, because I was when I first lived up here, I was younger. I can't even remember. I think I might have been like 10 or 11. And I learned about like where I came from, but I really didn't have like an appreciation for it. Like I didn't know like what it meant. Like, cause now I have a lot more understanding and know the importance of it, but it never like went away. Like that's why I always came back. Like every opportunity I got. Like I moved to Georgia. Last day of school, May 25th. I'm at Auntie Linda's May 28th, waiting on the weekend so I could come out here, and then just leave me out here for the week. And I'll just go back to the city, that last week before I had to fly back and go to school. So I always kept, ties with people that I grew up with and things like that. And those are the people that I'm painting right now,
I saw your dad, but and my daughter and you're pretty much the same age, so I probably saw you when you were
Probably. Some of the faces I remember, and they'll look at me, they're like, yeah, that's me. I just haven't, I haven't been up here in a while.
Did you go to school in Southampton at any time?
Middle school. For how long? Did I do it?
It's coming back to you?
We were at the middle school. I was at the middle school.
I don't know if I can't remember if I did. I think I did. Yeah, I did middle school, the whole middle school term. And then right before high school, ninth grade, I started in Georgia.
Lisa, you're probably teaching there then. I don't think I was there. I was still in elementary.
Who was in
At
your
the high
class?
school?
In middle school.
Who was in your class?
Ooh,
I mean, was like,
You wanna give a name?
she making me go back.
well, you said, a lot of
Just
your
like
friends.
29 years, we're asking you.
Middle school. Who was my teachers? Like I can't even.
Your friends.
Oh, it was people from the James Richardson, John Andrade, like the Crippens, James Richardson, Chris Gardner.
Okay, so you're there with Chris Gardner, Brandon Gardner.
Yep.
Brooklyn Bullock.
Yep. That was my
Antoine.
Joey Smith, Antoine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why my hair is gray.
So that was my that was my group of res runners when I stayed out here.
So it's coming back to you. That's coming back. Let it go. Let it go. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
7:59. Time check.
All right.
Should we give Durrell a round of applause?
No, thank you. I appreciate it.